Joining us virtually today are the Honourable Anita Anand, Minister of Public Services and Procurement, Dr. Mona Nemer, Chief Science Advisor of Canada, and Dr. Caroline Cloutier, Director of Research and Development, Energy, Mining and Environment at the National Research Council. Aujourd'hui, le gouvernement du Canada annoncera une mise à jour sur les travaux effectués à ce jour pour la stratégie Laboratoire Canada. We will also highlight investments to support new laboratory space for the National Research Council and Natural Resources Canada Centre of Expertise for Advanced Materials in Mississauga and in Hamilton. Before we start, I would like to invite you to use the chat function if you have any technical difficulties. Our production team is here to assist you. We also want to let everyone know that the event will be followed by a media availability. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Honourable Anita Anand, Minister of Public Services and Procurement, to deliver this announcement. Minister.
Thank you so much, Sven. It's so great to see you and everyone. Good morning. I would also like to acknowledge that I am meeting you from the territory of many First Nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. I am delighted to be here with Sven, of course, with Dr. Nemer, with Caroline Cloutier of the National Research Council. Every day of this past year, we have relied upon our scientists to lead the actions taken by the Government of Canada to protect the health of Canadians, especially our most vulnerable citizens, against COVID-19. We are extremely grateful to Canadian scientists who have worked day and night in the fight against this pandemic. Nous sommes extrêmement reconnaissants envers les scientifiques canadiens qui ont travaillé jour et nuit dans la lutte contre cette pandémie. Away from the COVID headlines, scientists continue to tackle other important challenges, including climate change, making sure Canadians have clean air and water, addressing issues related to food security, animals and plants, as well as transportation safety. We know that federal scientists play an important role in the lives of all Canadians by improving our health, environment, communities, and economy. Their curiosity and inquiry have spawned new ideas and approaches across areas of specialization and across jurisdictions. The Government of Canada has more than 200 major laboratories and research facilities across Canada, and many of them are showing their age. Le gouvernement du Canada possède plus de 200 laboratoires et installations de recherche majeurs partout au Canada, et bon nombre d'entre eux commençant à se faire vieux. It is our responsibility to make sure that our talented scientists have the modern facilities and equipment needed to deliver exceptional work for us all. Il est de notre responsabilité de veiller à ce que nos scientifiques talentueux disposent des installations et de l'équipement moderne nécessaire pour produire des résultats exceptionnels pour nous tous. That is why our government is committed to renewing our infrastructure to deliver world-class science for Canadians for the 21st century. To do this, we need to create centers for innovation and collaboration, places where we can spark new ways of doing research so that we can deliver on priorities for Canadians and put Canada at the forefront of new discoveries. Our government has a long-term plan to do just that, and I am happy to announce that we are making real progress on our 25-year Laboratories Canada strategy. As part of the initial phase of this strategy, we are developing 5 science hubs across the country. These hubs will allow scientists to enhance existing collaboration and develop new links in many areas, including sustainable land and resource development, and to embark on a new way of doing science, one that fosters innovation and accelerates us towards a low carbon economy. Through an initial $2.8 billion investment over 5 years, Public Services and Procurement Canada is working with the federal science community to transform many of our facilities into multi-purpose, multidisciplinary spaces. Grâce à un investissement initial de 2,8 milliards de dollars sur 5 ans, Services publics et approvisionnement Canada collabore avec la communauté scientifique fédérale pour transformer bon nombre de ces installations en espaces multidisciplinaires et polyvalents. To date, over $146.6 million in investments have been made as part of the first phase of the Laboratories Canada strategy, which includes the creation of concept designs to plan new state-of-the-art facilities as well as architectural, engineering, and construction management costs. Today, I am so pleased to highlight two great examples of Laboratories Canada work that is being undertaken in both Hamilton and Mississauga. We are investing $58.9 million in the Terra Canada Science and Innovation Hub by building new laboratories at the CanMet Materials facility in Hamilton and at the newly built National Research Council of Canada's facility in Mississauga, part of the Canadian Campus for Advanced Materials Manufacturing. Nous investissons 58,9 millions de dollars dans le groupe de sciences et d'innovation Terra Canada. Cet investissement servira à construire de nouveaux laboratoires dans les installations de CanMet Matériaux à Hamilton et dans l'installation nouvellement construite du Conseil national de recherche du Canada à Mississauga, qui fait partie du campus canadien de fabrication de matériaux de pointe. This will result in a new center for accelerated materials discovery and innovation, where innovative approaches to science will create a range of commercial opportunities for clean products in energy, such as solar cells and wind turbines. Ultimately, our investment will help Canada meet its emission reduction targets and significantly grow the clean energy and manufacturing sectors. In addition to these two sites, as part of our Laboratories Canada work, we are also continuing to make progress on the Atlantic Science Enterprise Centre Science Hub in Moncton. We are helping to turn that location into a world-class center for coastal ocean science research. Over the coming months, we will introduce additional projects that will further support science excellence across this country. We want to empower our scientists to achieve great things, to continue to achieve great things, and address the challenges of today and tomorrow, by providing them with leading edge facilities and tools that allow them to better work together. Nous voulons donner à nos chercheurs les moyens d'accomplir de grandes choses et de relever les défis d'aujourd'hui et de demain. Nous le faisons en leur fournissant des installations dernier cri et des outils qui favorisent la collaboration. Federal scientists will be able to work with colleagues in multiple disciplines across government, academia, and industry to develop research and science-based solutions for issues that matter most to Canadians. In closing, we are making a critical investment in Canadian science and an investment in Canada's future. Nous faisons un investissement important dans la science canadienne et un investissement dans l'avenir du pays. When we provide our brightest and best scientific minds with the right tools and the best opportunities to work together, the sky is the limit for what we can achieve for all Canadians. Thank you. Merci. Miigwech.
Merci beaucoup, Minister Anand. Thank you so much. Now, please join me in welcoming Dr. Mona Nemer, Canada's Chief Science Advisor, to offer a few words. Dr. Nemer.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, MP Spangeman. Bonjour, Madame la Ministre, Dr. Cloutier, chers collègues, distingués invités. Thank you for inviting me to join you today for this great announcement. Over the past year, we have seen perhaps more clearly than ever before the pressing need for science to guide policy decisions. Canada's scientists, many of them working in the federal government, have stepped up in unprecedented ways to offer their time and expertise in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. Federal government scientists enrich Canada's research environment, contributing to research focused on the public interest, as well as the kind of discovery that breeds innovation. And when I turn to the Terra Canada cluster, it's really very interesting to see that it's being conceived in a context where Canada and the world are facing the evolving challenges of climate change and sustainable development. At the same time, advances in earth, environmental sciences, material sciences, and technologies are accelerating like never before. As we've seen with the COVID-19 pandemic, the solutions to our environmental challenges will come through research and innovation. And the science required to address such complex problems is interdisciplinary and needs to build on collaborations within and beyond the government labs. At the same time, translating discoveries into real-world solutions can be accelerated by collaborations between governments, academics, and industry. We've seen this during the pandemic, whether in the production of personal protective equipment, diagnostic tests, vaccines, or therapeutics. And on this one, I wish to thank you on behalf of many of us, Minister, for your extraordinary efforts during this pandemic to ensure that we have the supplies that we need. A scientific lab is not just a building, as the Minister already alluded to. It's an environment of discovery. A laboratory is people, equipment, infrastructure, governance model, and above all, a culture. And all these features contribute to research success. Creating a world-leading laboratory is a way for scientists to work in a more collaborative and transparent manner. That means they will deliver the science and innovation that Canada and the world needs while training the next generation of innovators in key sectors for society and the economy. Investir dans la modernisation des laboratoires fédéraux, lorsque cela s'accompagne d'un engagement à approfondir la collaboration entre les ministères, l'industrie et l'enseignement supérieur, c'est contribuer à accroître la qualité et la pertinence de la recherche scientifique au sein du système fédéral. C'est aussi une façon d'attirer la relève de demain, la prochaine génération de chercheurs, de travailleurs spécialisés et d'innovateurs qui verra au développement et à l'exploitation durable de nos ressources. Ce projet d'infrastructure scientifique offre donc des opportunités exceptionnelles pour la recherche et le développement des technologies émergentes et assurera la prospérité de notre société. That is good news for Canadians and for Canadian science as well. Thank you. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Nemer. Thank you so much. And I would now like to invite Dr. Caroline Cloutier, Director of Research and Development, Energy, Mining and Environment at the National Research Council, to present her remarks. Dr. Cloutier.
Thank you and good morning. C'est un honneur d'être ici aujourd'hui en compagnie de Mitch Davies, le président du Conseil national de recherche du Canada, ainsi que des membres du bureau de gestion du groupe scientifique Terra Canada et de nombreux chercheurs et employés du Conseil national de recherche du Canada et de Ressources naturelles Canada. Je suis heureuse de vous parler du rôle important que joueront les nouveaux laboratoires fédéraux de Mississauga et d'Hamilton, pour relever le défi mondial des changements climatiques et faire progresser les nouvelles technologies et le développement industriel grâce à la découverte de matériaux de pointe. Under Terra Canada, the NRC and NRCan will work hand in hand to establish and apply a revolutionary new approach to discover and develop advanced materials for clean energy and other applications. Bringing new materials to market is risky, time-consuming, and costly, with an estimated 10 to 20 years to get from the lab to mainstream use. Relatively few new Canadian materials innovations ultimately make their way to market, with Canadian manufacturers being largely dependent on international sources of advanced materials. Pour rectifier cette situation à l'échelle du Canada, les installations de Mississauga et d'Hamilton mèneront des travaux de recherche et de développement technologique dans 3 principaux domaines, soit la découverte accélérée de matériaux et le développement de procédés, la mise à l'échelle de la production, la démonstration et la normalisation, ainsi que la durabilité et la sécurité des matériaux et des procédés. Federal scientists and their academic and industry partners will use artificial intelligence and robotics combined with advanced high-throughput experimental techniques to dramatically accelerate the discovery and technology maturation of novel materials. The materials acceleration platforms we will develop together will cut the average time for deploying breakthrough new materials to as little as 1 or 2 years. NRCan will focus on new thermoelectric materials to convert waste heat directly into electricity. The NRC will direct its efforts toward materials for batteries, solar cells, and catalysts for producing hydrogen and for converting CO2 into high-value chemicals. Thanks to Laboratories Canada, the 2 organizations will be able to combine their efforts and those of our partners to maximize the innovation potential for Canada. The Laboratories Canada initiative is about the value of working closer together to go farther for Canada. The NRC and NRCan are very excited to be playing a role in bringing this vision into a reality. Both the NRC and NRCan look forward to working with our partners in advancing Canada's low-carbon economy to support Canada in meeting emissions reduction targets and grow the clean energy and manufacturing sectors. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup, Dr. Cloutier. And this ends the announcement portion of the event, and we're now ready to begin the media availability. J'invite maintenant Cécilie Roy, attachée de presse de la ministre Anand, à se joindre à nous pour modérer la période de questions et réponses des médias.
Merci et bon matin. Nous allons maintenant prendre des questions et nous avons 15 minutes. Good morning. We will now take questions and we have approximately 15 minutes to do so. Minister Anand and Dr. Niemer are available to answer your questions, as well as Dr. Caroline Cloutier from the NRC, as well as Dr. Andrew Johnson from the NRC, and Dr. Marc Cosras from Natural Resources. Nous allons prendre maintenant une question et un suivi. Et je vais maintenant passer la parole à l'opérateur pour prendre la première question. Merci.
Thank you, merci. Please press *1 at this time if you have a question. Also, please specify to whom the question is being addressed to. 1 question and 1 follow-up question will be allowed. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur l'étoile 1 maintenant pour poser une question. Veuillez, s'il vous plaît, spécifier à qui votre question est adressée. Une question et une sous-question seront permises. The first question is from Rachel Haynes of CTV. Please go ahead.
Hi there. Thanks for taking my question. My first one is directed to Minister Anand about the Moderna shipment. We know that the shipment that we are receiving this week was delayed, and there have been indications that our next shipment from Moderna could be delayed as well. I'm wondering what kind of assurances you've had from Moderna that these quality assurance issues might be fixed shortly, so that hopefully as we ramp up, we might be able to have more security from Moderna.
Well, thank you so much for the question. And I will say that the issues relating to Moderna's shipments are ones that we are following very closely, and I continue to press the supplier for information relating to their future deliveries, including the precise delivery schedule that they are able to provide. I think we need to remember that this is a company that is continuing to ramp up production, and they are experiencing some bumps along the way. And as a result, we are having to continue to ascertain the security of and timing of the future deliveries. That's an ongoing conversation that I and my department are having with the company. And as soon as we have new information, we will provide it to you.
Thank you.
Follow up?
And, yes, thank you. And what kind of impact overall is this having on the vaccination rollout? We've heard from a lot of provinces that are saying that they're not able to keep up with their vaccination rollout as quickly as they want to due to supply issues. So what kind of impact is this having, and when are we expecting the next shipments of the AstraZeneca vaccine?
Okay, well, I'm really glad you asked that follow-up because it is important to put this question into context. The majority of our vaccines coming into the country right now are from Pfizer. And we are seeing a very stable supply of Pfizer vaccines coming into this country. And we have, in addition to Pfizer, of course, Moderna vaccines and AstraZeneca vaccines. In total, we have had 12.7 million doses delivered to Canada to date. 8.9 million doses have been administered by the provinces and territories. We have millions of more doses on the way from Pfizer, as well as Moderna and AstraZeneca. But as I said, we will be seeing that Pfizer will be the majority of doses that are coming into the country, 1 million a week through April and May, and 2 million a week through the month of June. In addition, as you mentioned in your question, we do see Moderna and AstraZeneca supplementing that portfolio of vaccines. And in terms of the AstraZeneca doses, we are pulling that vaccine from multiple locations and sources of supply. We have already received 500,000 doses from the Serum Institute in India. We have received 300,000 doses from the COVAX facility, and we have received 1.5 million doses from the United States, made possible by our APA with AstraZeneca. We will continue to see shipments from COVAX and the Serum Institute over the next months, and we will also continue our negotiations with the United States government for additional doses under our bilateral APA. In terms of what we can expect in terms of our numbers of AstraZeneca, we will see 1.1 million doses coming in June from AstraZeneca. We will see 1.5 million doses coming from the Serum Institute. We are still working on the delivery schedule with them, given the export controls that the Indian government has placed on that company. And we will see 1.9 million doses in total coming from COVAX. Thank you.
Next question, please.
Thank you, merci. Et la prochaine question est de Catherine Lévesque de la presse canadienne. La parole est à vous.
Oui, bonjour à vous tous. Madame Anand, en fait, votre collègue William Amos devait être à vos côtés pour cette annonce. Je me demandais juste s'il y avait une raison pour laquelle il avait été remplacé à la dernière minute.
Oui, merci pour la question. Oui, c'est vrai. Je crois savoir que le député a abordé publiquement la question et je vous y renvoie. Je suis ici pour parler de l'investissement important dans la science et la recherche canadienne. Et ça, c'est le travail pour aujourd'hui. Et aussi en anglais, je voudrais dire que Monsieur Amos is taking a day. He has apologized to all Canadians and our colleagues in the House of Commons. And I believe he has publicly addressed the matter, and I will refer you to that public apology that he has made. I am here today to discuss this significant investment in Canadian science and research, and we'll focus on that. Thank you.
OK, merci de la précision. Je voulais vous entendre aussi sur les vaccins, si vous me permettez, en français. Je voulais juste m'assurer de bien comprendre. Est-ce qu'on sait pourquoi Moderna a eu des perturbations dans les dernières livraisons et pourquoi il continue d'y en avoir jusqu'à maintenant? Et peut-être, si je peux me permettre, un double barrel, Johnson & Johnson, est-ce qu'on a eu des nouvelles sur les premières livraisons à ce sujet-là? Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Au sujet de Moderna, l'entreprise nous explique que le problème est avec le quality assurance dans la production de la vaccin. Mais c'est important de se souvenir que ça, c'est en général, une nouvelle entreprise et c'est important de recogniser de ça, c'est une production difficile avec l'entreprise. Mais pour ces questions, j'espère que vous pouvez les demander à l'entreprise directement. Parce que ça, c'est les choses que l'entreprise me racontait déjà, mais pour l'explication additionnelle, c'est important pour vous de parler avec l'entreprise directement. Et au sujet de J&J, les premières livraisons de vaccins vont arriver le fin du mois d'avril et ça, c'est important de comprendre aussi. Nous sommes engagés avec l'entreprise et le fournisseur et nous continuons d'avoir les négociations au sujet de les autres livraisons dans le deuxième trimestre. Merci beaucoup.
Prochaine question, s'il vous plaît.
Once again, please press star one if you have questions. De nouveau, n'hésitez pas à appuyer sur l'étoile 1 pour toute question. The next question is from Mike Lécouteur of Global News. Please go ahead. Your line is open.
Minister, thanks for taking our questions, and I understand what you just said about your colleague, Mr. Amos, but I wanted to ask you a different question related to that. If I'm not mistaken, the photo of Mr. Amos was taken by someone who had access to an internal feed and limited feed of the House of Commons. I wanted to ask you what you think of a picture of a member of Parliament in a vulnerable position being shared with the public.
Well, thank you. I believe that my colleague, Mr. Amos, has already provided the explanation and address the issue. I do, as a member of Parliament, have concerns that we should all, as members of Parliament, be respecting the rules of the House of Commons as well as any additional applicable law. Thank you.
Follow-up, Mike?
Yeah, and for a follow-up, let's go to vaccines. You said in French, but on the Johnson & Johnson delivery, I know you mentioned end of April was when we can start expecting that. do you have numbers in terms of that first delivery and then the frequency and numbers following that?
Mhm. This is what I was mentioning in French. We have thus far been told that the deliveries will begin in the last week of April. We have also been told that the company is still ramping up production and that the company will provide the additional precise numbers for the months of May and June in due course. And as soon as I have those numbers, I will provide them to you, which I expect to be this month. Thank you.
The operator will turn back to the phone line.
Thank you. There are no further questions registered. Nous n'avons plus de questions pour le moment. And so the conference is now ended. Please disconnect your lines at this time, and we thank you for your participation. La conférence est maintenant terminée. Veuillez s'il vous plaît raccrocher votre ligne et merci à tous les participants qui se sont joints.
Merci beaucoup. Cela met donc fin à l'événement. Merci tout le monde d'avoir été des nôtres aujourd'hui et bonne journée à toutes et à tous. Have an excellent day and please keep safe.